Hello, everyone. Hello, my LinkedIn community. Hello, everyone out there on Facebook. Hello, everyone out there on YouTube. It's great to be here today. And I have with me the Mark Victor Hansen. If you don't know who he is, it's time that you know, and it's time you're going to learn about him and about his wisdom and the amazing things that we came here to give you today and deliver to you. So, Mark, to give him a little bit of a background, he is the #1 selling author in the world. He holds multiple Guinness Book of World Records. He has 59 #1 New York Times bestsellers in books. So no one has done it like he's done it. No one, has been able to continue to do that. And he's just a wealth of wisdom, of knowledge. And we brought this live event here to you today to help to uplift you, to bring you information, to help you to answer some questions about what the potential is for a book, what you can do, with a book in your life, in your business, and all those other different things, or why you should even write a book. If you've written a book, maybe you can look at some of the things that you can actually do with the book on the back end, or figure out a couple of things of maybe why it didn't work, or different things like that. So welcome, Mark. Thank you so much for joining today and for sharing your wisdom. And hello.
Good morning, and good morning, everyone. And some of you, good afternoon, and some of you around the world, good evening. But we're delighted to be with all of you, because the best business card you can ever have is your own book. Now, this is called You Have a Book in You, and everyone's got a story. And what a book does is if somebody's in the Caribbean already writing it back, what this does is codifies it normalizes it. And obviously for me, I've helped do business, our book business of the Chicken Soup series. As most of you know, at retail, we sold $500 million. We've done over $2 billion in retail. I created licensing for us, and we did over $1 billion. So a book open up stuff that you cannot even imagine. And what we want to do, Preston and I, and you got the way to get to him at Preston to 21,000. We're going to say comprehensively, if you've got a book, we'll help you sell. If you haven't ever written a book, we'll help you. If you want a ghost book, we'll help you. If you need it published and distributed, we'll help you, because I got turned down by 144 publishers, Jack and Mark, and then our agent fired us. And then when we were selling 20,000 a week, which was what it took to get to New York Times #1, a lady wouldn't take us. I said, look, Jack, you went to Harvard like she did. So what I like to do is make sure that we get on her. He said, well, I can't call her, you call her. So I said, look, she's already saying no because we're not on it, so let me do it. So I would like to do that. And that's amazing. And now we're even getting scriptural references from people around the world that says, well, you could have a book. And obviously the Bible is a big book, and it was so big, everyone said I would never outsell the Bible. So I went to my publisher, and he wouldn't let me publish it because he said, oh, that'll never sell. So I did Chicken Soup and Soul Bible, and we sold 70,000 a week with a little story to get you into the big story at Walmart. So now there's a collector's item and NFT and all kinds of stuff. So we're in the most exciting time ever for everyone to write a book. So yes, I'm on my bully pulpit. Yes, I'm encouraging you to write a book. Yes, because when you write, you read more, think more, live more, and have more opportunity than you've ever had any other way. It is the best thing to make you an expert and authority, because the middle word authority is author, and we want to help you have a new authorship of your life at levels that you never even thought you could do before. And we're going to make it exciting and hopefully relatively easy. And Preston's going to lead the questions. And the danger is, as a lifetime professional speaker, the only way to get me to shut up is not ask a question.
No, that's great. No, well, that's what we're here today to do, is to talk and to learn and to share wisdom, to share new ideas, and to open people's mind. What I want to do is really open people's mind about the possibility and the potential of what they can do in a book. So I'd love to hear, starting out, what are some of your thoughts? What has writing a book done in your life? And answer that first.
What a nice broad question. First of all, it's made me rich in every way. It's made me rich in, what you think, my cliche is what you think about comes about. And the Bible says, as a man or woman thinketh in his or her heart, so is he or she. So it opened up my mind to thinking. It opened my mind to friendship. And I've got friendships now that are deep and pervading, last over 50 years because I'm a writer, because I've been writing, for longer than that. And I've written 318 books, a lot of bestsellers, and a lot of bestsellers around the world. So I literally have great friends in China and Australia and Africa and England, Europe, and it just keeps opening more and more paths, more and more possibilities, and it's the only thing that leaves legacy value. At the simplest level, when you die, after your obituary, they put your birth year. You died at I'm going to live to be 127 options for no, but Mark was lived to be 127, and then the first thing it lists is one book. Well, by the time I get there, I'm going to have 500 or 600 books, I suspect, because the only objection I ever have to myself is I didn't write more earlier, because they're all selling and you keep getting paid, and the world keeps getting bigger and better, and people write you. And Preston's read our fan mail and said, oh my gosh, like one day we got 121 and he looked at all the mail. And it really, I believe books should be unique. I believe they should be transformative. Like right now, my wife and I have written a book that's is on steroids, beating chicken soup sales per se. Ask, The Bridge from Your Dreams to Your Destiny. And it's an exquisite book, but we're doing even more, because the more you think, the more opportunities come. And I really want everybody in the world to be able to read so they can be freed, literally, in Africa and India and the Caribbean and everywhere. So we're in the most exciting time ever if you're awake and writing a book, thinking about writing a book, selling books, marketing books, and distributing books wakes you up at levels nothing else can.
I love that. No, I love what you said too, because a book, it does outlast us, it does outlive us, and it's something that we put down in words. And everyone's on social media or all these different types of platforms, and they go so far. You can get great reach and great benefits from that, but as soon as your post isn't on top, as soon as your information isn't there in the front of people, as soon as your article or your publication or whatever you do in your life isn't there anymore, then it's gone. Or if you write something that they don't like, maybe they'll take you off of the platform or different things. But a book can actually continue to share into the world and go far beyond you, go far beyond everything that you're doing. We've got some great comments. Got a comment from Eldon Haas that says, don't write one book, write 3 or 5 books at a time. Yeah, what do you say about that, Mark?
Well, first of all, I'm doing it, so I totally believe in it. And the point is, where I learned it is that when we did Chicken Soup for the Writer's Soul, I'm with Steve Allen, who had like 7,000, I think, major songs and 40 major books, and was totally dyslexic, meaning he read backwards and upside down. And he wrote or did music or plays. He created the Tonight Show way before Johnny Carson and everybody else, Jack Parr, and more recently Jay Leno and now the other guys. The point is, he said I had 28 tape recorders because he couldn't read, and he dictated into the tape recorder. Now, and he always did 28 because he said you never have writer's block on 28 subjects at once, and your mind will wake up. So there's no such thing as writer's block, as our dear friend Eldon, who is in Europe, is in England, and who does work with us a lot, and is just, I mean, when you build friends you don't even ever meet except through the book, because the book is the essence of you. The book opens up the world to you. Like I know Mark Twain, I know Buckminster Fuller, I've read over 5,000 books, deeply, and glanced at 50,000 books I have in my library. So I'm clear that I know a lot of people that I will never get to meet, maybe. And a lot of books that I did read, I wanted to meet the people who wrote it down, visualize it, verbalize it, and materialize it, met with them. Yep. All because of their book.
No, it's amazing. It expands reach, it makes connections. And I know Eldon, who made that comment, he has a book and he's working on another book. So he's not even just a talker, he's a doer, and he's working on great stuff himself. And he's also my business partner in our other company, Formula EQ, where we train the emotional intelligence of people to build their self-love, their self-happiness, their self-joy, so they can have the foundation of everything that they want to do in life. But we've got another question from Schwa. Schwa, I know Schwa, he's in St. Lucia. My brother in St. Lucia. But he said, Mark, what's your take on writing gift books? So books to give out to people, maybe books to use for promotional use. I know I had a client that I was coaching, I met with actually yesterday, and she has a book that she's writing that's a book that she's using to help to build her business. But yeah, what's your opinion on this and gift books?
Well, first of all, Chicken Soup was considered the biggest gift book ever. And once we did it, I say you never do a book. You make sure you can prequel and sequel it. So you want to own and dominate a zone. That's that part. Second part is that last night we went to a Christian sing-along with a lovely guy, the biggest builders here, El Dorado Home. Mike Ingram brought in a guy who did Yellow Polka Dot Bikini, and he sang to all of us. He's 84 years old and had a giant group singing to us. But Mike gave out his book to everybody, and Mike has done this book that's built him into he owns one of the biggest ranches in Montana, 8,700 acres, and that's how it starts out. But what he did, first of all, he sold rat poison and made $100 million, which is amazing. I mean, I would have never read a book about rat poison, but obviously I'm in his book because we're friends, and I absolutely endorse the book. So he gives it away. But what happens is the people read mostly the first 9 pages, say, holy cow, this guy's big, he's successful, he's integrous. Of course, I'll give my money to invest in real estate in Arizona. And of course, this guy's going to do what he says. He's going to build Highway 11, which we haven't had a new highway since 1950 that goes north to south in California. You got Highway 5, and he's finally got all the permissions. He's personally 80 years old and spent his life getting ready to build a highway from Tucson through Phoenix, through Buckeye, all the way up through Las Vegas, all the way up to that. And people are buying into it because they're going to build on the sides but make a fortune. Because when you have a highway, I mean, you and I have driven to California bunches of times back and forth. We all live in Arizona, and we know exactly where to stop. And those stops are going to make a lot of money because all the trucks have to come to those stops, and now they got to get electric cars to fill up in them fast and all kinds of cool stuff. But that's what this guy's been doing. He's right. The Bible says, "Without vision, people perish." So he has a vision, Mike Ingram, of giving his book out as a gift book, and it sells. I mean, people pour money into his company, and we're talking about serious people pouring serious amounts of money. Crystal, my wife, and I are little itty bitty investors. We're invisible compared to what the people he deals with, but it's fun to go hang out with people that are really well off.
Yeah. So we've got another question here from Ernest, and he's asking, how good does a book actually have to be before publishing? So what can you give us insight on that?
There's 2 levels to that, and sorry, I set my clock to do it, and somehow it doesn't show that it is ringing, but I'll make sure it doesn't ring again. Most people, 95% of the people, the way we do it at Mark Victor Hansen Library, which if you write Preston, he'll tell you about it, but if you want to help, we are now a publisher, and that's only been the last 6 or 8 weeks, and some of you are going to be watching this later, so I don't know if we should dine and date this because we won't keep it evergreen. The fact is, the first thing we do is come up with a title because everybody does it wrong. And the first thing I did in my book, You Have a Book in You, is I say, pick a killer title. Because most people spend a year or 7 years or 8 years writing the book, and then they do the title backwards. Write a title that's so clear, so compelling, and the title has got to be emotional. It's got to grab you. The second thing we do that no other publisher does is we make the cover. The minute we accept you, if you qualify to work with us, we do a picture of your cover, and Presto will tell you our covers are killer compared to everybody else, and they're contemporary. They deliver the good in the sweet now and now. Then either you write the book, and we can edit it if you want to. We can ghost it if you want to. We can do anything you want because the big publishers are going down now, and I'll tell you why, and it breaks my heart. But Barnes & Noble and all the independent bookstores are called indies, said, well, COVID is going to last for 2 weeks, 2 months. And so what they did is they kept paying their rent, but they forgot to pay the publisher. And I'm with 7 publishing houses, so I know all the houses. After getting rejected, then they all want me because, I got the Midas touch in books, so to speak. And they make money, I make money, and all my writing partners make money, and everybody that works with us makes money. All of God's little children are happy. point is, we say start with a great title, then have a picture of the book, because then you feel fulfilled, and then write an excellent book. Now, if you want the book to be lasting, write it extraordinarily, and you got to have it read by the people who are going to be the ones buying it. Like when we did Chicken Soup for the Teenage Soul, luckily we knew that Time Warner was trying to buy Jack and I out, and his daughter, Larry Kirschbaum's daughter, ran Nickelodeon, and we tested all of our stories without the author's name, so it didn't know it was written by Mark, by Jack, by Art Buchwald, or by Irma Bombach, or whomever the famous person was. The story had to stand on its own, and we had 12,000 kids electronically test it, and all the stories were a 10 out of 10, or a 10 plus, meaning they read it. It's so emotionally impacted they could go tell it the first time they heard it. That book sold 19 million out of the chute. So do I want you to write a great, inspiring, long-lasting book, sort of like Mark Twain or Clive Cussler or Shakespeare? Yes. Do you need an editor? Yes. You need to know market feedback, because one of the 38 things that I'm teaching in this book is feedback is the breakfast of champions. Feedback's the breakfast of champions. You need positive feedback from the buying market, because what most authors do is they say, do you like my title? And of course, people want to be nice to you, so they're going to say, oh, Preston, that is the nicest title I've ever heard. That is such a sweet title. No, that's not the question. Preston, will you give me $20 for the book? And by the way, I got to teach you something else here that nobody else will teach you. Amazon, which is now the macro bookseller in the world, like we're selling more books in places like Vietnam than anybody else, and in Greece, because Amazon there just blows my mind. Anyhow, Amazon, this book is a $19.95 book, but when you sell more, instead of going up in price, Amazon comes down in price. So right now, if you go online to get asked, instead of, it says $19.95, but today at Amazon, because they're the best-selling book, it's $14. And you go, wait a second, it's $14 in hardbound, and if you buy it in paperback, it's $12. Everyone says, for $2, I'll get a book that's going to last me, my kids, my grandkids, and go over it. So we're competing with ourselves. We're selling against ourselves, which is something. If you told me, Preston, even a year ago, I would do that, I go, I don't think so. You do hardbound for 2 or 3 years, then when it stops selling and plateaus out, right, the S curve goes down, then goes up, plateaus out, then you come out with a paperback. But now we're competing with ourselves on every one of the books. But it's just, you go, holy cow, we're in a new world, people, and you've got to have the people that are, you're either leading edge, cutting edge, dull edge, or trailing edge. I report to you that I am leading edge. I study this every day. I live it. I breathe it. I talk to publishers and agents and authors every day, multiple times, in addition to, like the question Eldon had asked earlier, and I'm over answering this question. We're doing 5 books right now. I'm doing the first biography I've ever done. Cindy gave us a fortune to do it. No, I'm doing 2 biographies, one on Reverend Ike, From Wishes to Riches. We're doing one on Bucky Fuller, my great teacher, Dr. Fuller. We're doing my own book, Money Lunch. I can't even give you the title. It's a great money book. Anyhow, we're doing 5 books concurrently. So the answer is yeah, and I'm having a ball. And each of them spill into the other, and you wake up with these great new ideas, which is what Ask teaches. The minute you ask yourself, can I write it? Your ideas illuminate. You get revelation, you get insight, you get breakthroughs, you get a preponderance of exciting things happening all at once, and your life starts clicking. There's no better business, no matter what your business, as a door opener, than to write a book, or as a prestige builder to go up in any industry, whether it's banking or finance or sales or marketing or real estate. You name it, it'll take you forward. There's nobody famous that doesn't have a book behind their name almost.
Nice. Yep. No, it's that calling card. It's the most powerful business card that you can carry, in the world, I think, today. And yeah, I've got a question here. Actually, it's a comment, so this is a big one. But this is from Steven Anderson. I know he's asked this before, but he's in the process of putting together 4 books following your Chicken Soup for the Soul model to get. He said you got stories from all over the world, from individuals in particular subject, and put stories into a book. He's doing the same thing, but with cartoons. So he's wanting to support cartoonists. He's wanting to support artists. He has 4 books he's creating. What women think about men, what men think about women, what women think about themselves, and what men think about themselves. And he's wondering if you think that's a good book idea to follow, if you think that's something that could work, or any feedback you can provide to him about that and your experience with that.
First of all, your titles are whimsical and fun, and I like that. Second of all, when Jack and I decided to do Chicken Soup, I said nobody's going to have more than time to read 3 pages at a time, and that's why we did 3-page stories, so people read it right before they go to sleep or while they're in the bathroom. And then we did a cartoon every 7 pages, and I can tell you all the best cartoonists in the world want to work with you. So you got to work out, and you got to get unlimited international world rights. The third thing is the book that sold the best by the best cartoonist, and we were sort of friends before he died, is Charles Schulz, the guy who wrote Peanuts. And I'm just rereading his book at lunchtime. I just read one cartoon every day called The Gospel According to Peanuts, because on this Reverend Ike book we're doing a workbook that'll go to all the churches, sort of like Purpose Driven Light, and it's going to be the Gospel According to Reverend Ike, because he said the God in you, and we're going to have some cartoons in there. So the Gospel According to Peanuts, purportedly sold tens of millions of copies. Now, I think it's 2 reasons. Number one, Charles Schulz is the best read cartoonist of his time. Now, he made $50 million a year. I met him once or twice. And his story, if you read it in our Chicken Soup books, it's a wonderful story about a kid who was rejected full time. So he just took his rejection and wrote it into Lucy and Schroeder and Peanuts and Linus, and you read it, and it just touches your heart. What you got to do is you got to, back to the question I asked about feedback, once you put those cartoon books together and you're writing a narration around them, you got to make sure that that hits the zone of each one of those audiences. And if I were you, of the 4 books you're doing, do the one first, what women think about men, because women are 87% of all the book buyers in America, and everybody today, given the trends, I believe, and we can discuss this or argue it, or you can text us or write us, is it we're in a problematic time, and the spiritual stuff that I'm teaching in the Reverend Ike book says you got to have self-awareness, self-expression, self-mastery, and self-realization. But self-realization only comes if you've got a good sense of humor. So cartoon books will make it because we need to elevate people's out of the conundrums that we're all suffering in from COVID confinement cocoon. That's my opinion. So, but test it on more than your wife. That's what I was trying to say about everybody has one editor and they think that's enough. No. You need to get edited by your market buying place and find out who buys the cartoons. And then there's a subset where Jack and I made a lot of money, and that was, how do you syndicate? Which is, I was pretty masterful at getting syndications. Like we got in, I'll just do one. Women's World magazine paid us $4,000 a month for one story of ours that was original every month, and it just rocketed and sold a lot of books. So what Charles Schulz did, got one newspaper and then another newspaper and another newspaper, and it was, I can't even remember where he lived, but some little itty bitty invisible city at the front end of his life. And he started in that little bitty city doing his cartoons, and then everybody suddenly wanted him, and then suddenly he's in front of every Sunday newspaper, the cartoon section with Peanuts. So, make sure you own all the rights on this. Make sure you get unlimited permission. Make sure you get signed permission from the thing, because success has a lot of parents that show up and want money once you make a live. Failure has none. But if you become successful, you're going to have relatives show up, Stephen, that you don't even start to know exist. And they say, give me. And you're not going to rescue anyone but yourself, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. Not only are you making friends and building your connections, but you got friends that have some motives that come after you get your successful launch and that thing going. But yeah. No, that's perfect. We've got another question here from Milton Howard. He said, I'm releasing 8 books that cover the frequency spectrum of major music scale. That stuff's pretty cool. I'm into the binaural beats, and I use some of those different things during meditation or studying to get in the right brain frequencies. But he said, I'd love to learn more about your publishing company. History will be made. But yeah, Milton too, I will share in the link below. I'll share in the chat a link where you can actually connect. And if you want to talk more about publishing, I can help you and get you connected to Mark and tell you what the resources are that are available. So I put that link in the chat, for everyone that can that has questions about that, or questions about publishing, and they want to learn what Mark is up to. Go ahead and you can check it out in the chat and see what's going on there. Publishing is an interesting thing. I mean, you mentioned some of the transitions. What do you see are the different benefits of going with a publishing house versus self-publishing and those types of things?
I'll do that second, Preston. Let me answer Milton's question first. Milton, first of all, when everybody dies, and some of the best-selling books now are near-death experience, where 20,000 people have gone to the other side and come back, and have all been bestsellers, the ones that write the books about it. First thing they hear is music. That's fascinating. Second is, I'm a Horatio Alger Award winner, as is David Foster, and I love David Foster's music. He made everybody from Barbra Streisand to Whitney Houston to Celine Dion, and he does it. In Europe, if you're in London, it's guys like Andrew Lloyd Webber. And in our country, in the old days, it would have been another Horatio winner is Quincy Jones. So music has a profound influence, and it can elevate our consciousness and elevate our soul and elevate our spirituality. So it's called the music of the sphere. So I know I'm doing this as a comprehensivist. So the answer is yes. And make sure that you have enough links that they come back to every kind of music when you're going through your stuff, and really test it. And if you can get interviews with the best people, the three that I just mentioned, whether it's Quincy or whether it's David or with Andrew, these guys all are alive and well and doing, and there's a lot more. I mean, Preston and I have had on Zoom calls with some of the best musicians of our time, and these guys, I can tell you because last night we were with Jimmy Dell, who had Pink a Polka Dot and Bikini and a lot of other songs, but at 84 he is smoking. He's tall, he's handsome, he's got regal white hair. He galvanized the audience, and I'm close friends with Willie Nelson. Willie Nelson and I have done a lot of charity and fundraising together with his friend, who's played God in multiple movies, lived down in Mississippi, the great and the inimitable Morgan Freeman. So these guys all want to work. I can tell you that Willie now is wanting to work so much, he invites everyone to his house. He has 700 people at a time at his house and does music, because he can't, he's like, sort of like Dell was last night. He's irresistible. He can't not perform, just like I can't not speak when you ask a question. So now back to Preston's question about self-publish or privately published. The problem with major publishers, they're wonderful. They're great people. They're smart people. Most of them went to Harvard or Princeton or Stanford. Super, but they don't know how to market. You've got to hang with the people like me that know how to market, that know how to sell, that know how to promote, that know how to self-promote, that know how to go forward, because you've got two choices. Either you do it or your partner has to do it. And the Mark and Jack thing, I was the partner that had the unlimited courage, because I've been selling since I was 9 years old, not because I wanted to, because I had to. My parents had no money, and I bought all my own clothes from the time I was 9 years old. So I got sort of rejection proof, and we teach and ask. If you get rejected, use a clean 4-letter word, NEXT, next. Somebody out there wants to buy what you got to sell, and then that's that book. And then the other book, Preston and I wrote together with a great woman, Mitzi Perdue, called How to Be Up and Down Times, because we thought this is the hardest, most negative time ever in history. So, and it's whatever it costs, $4. Books, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, are the screaming value of all times. So that's why I want you to write it, have it, be able to give it away. Our publisher house, Mark Victor Hansen Library, we only created it because a lot of people are getting turned down, and they are great books, and they're great salespeople that would get more people to read. Because my goal is that the 4 billion people that can't read in the planet are going to be taught by those of us who are writing books now and come into my fold. We're going to figure out how to push back that edge quickly. And all these seniors got time to teach people to read. We need everyone to read. And in California, where 75% of people graduating high school can't read, Preston's aunt, Allie, is a full professor. And she said these kids would come into an English class with her, and they couldn't even write a paragraph. And she thought, oh my God, this is tragic. And yes, I'm going to fail you because you don't know how to read, right? And the first chicken soup story we did, a millionaire who could not read, who was a teacher, but Johnny Corcoran, and he finally loses all of his wealth, goes in front of the person with black robes, and the black robe judge says, Johnny, you can't read. He goes in a library. All libraries will teach you how to read free. If you got time, please volunteer to teach somebody to read. Little Lady B teaches him how to read. He regains his fortune. His wife had been a Phi Beta Kappa nurse, and I always thought he was joking that he couldn't read because she always had to read to the kids. And all of a sudden, when he learns how to read at the library, at 58 years old, so there's no ageism here, he started reading all the highway signs and reading the cereal boxes, and she was blown away because he couldn't read. And ladies and gentlemen, a lot of you, 10 to 20% are dyslexic. That means you read backwards and upside down, so it's hard. Today, we have glasses that can change that. And Preston and I are friends with a billionaire named Richard Branson, and Richard Branson's totally dyslexic. He dictates one book a year, and I've sat with him when he dictated it, and you can go online and watch the videos that I did with Richard. But it is amazing. There are no withholds. You could be blind and write a book. I wrote the foreword and the endorsement to a great book called The Ultimate Gift by Jim Stovall, who went blind at 19, who was going to be a champion football player with the NFL recruited, and they found out. And he says, now, thanks to Mark, I write books that I can't read, and I make movies that I can't watch. I'm synthesizing that just a little bit. You can go online to YouTube or somewhere and watch the videos. Preston videotaped me with this wonderful giant of a man who is one of the great writers. He's made $100 million with his movies. He said, if I live to be 100 years old, there'll never be a day I don't have Mark Victor Hansen, my prayer for getting me to write. And now he's written 50 books, so it's been a while. But we never met him until, Russ, when were we in Tulsa with him?
Yeah, a few months ago. But yeah, Jim's amazing. And he taught me something that was really cool. So Jim's blind, and so his story, he could see until he was about 18. He had degenerative disease and went blind and wrote The Ultimate Gift. And like you're saying, and but having that extra sense in his life taken away from him gave him superpowers and other skills. And he's the one that taught me how to read high speed on audiobooks. So Jim reads one book a day. So think about that. Think about how much information that guy processes in his brain. He reads one book a day, and he does it because he can listen to it in an audiobook. He doesn't have to mentally deal with, his brain doesn't have to deal with things he sees. So he can listen so well that he listens at a 6x speed on audiobooks. Now I've got myself up to like, a 3.5, but yeah, he does it at a 6. And so, it's absolutely amazing. It's, what he does, he's an inspiration. He's an amazing person altogether. But I've got,
So first of all, everything Press said is accurate, and I love Jim so much. I love him with my heart and my soul, and he's got a wife, Crystal, like I got a wife, Crystal, different wife, women, and she's the one who got him through school. But he never was successful in high school. He got D's and C's because he didn't think he was smart. He suddenly goes blind, and what Press talked about is everyone has a compensatory talent, meaning you compensate in one place for a lack in another. And he was the first guy ever to test, could you listen at twice the speed of normal speed? Could you listen 3 times and 4 times? And now he does it 6 times and reads a book in an hour to 2 hours, depends on the size of the book, but absorbs one a day. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm saying everyone needs to absorb at least 1 book a week, but if you start writing, you'll read 1 book a week. I read at least a book a day, so I'm a little bit way in advance, and my wife and I have pretty much shut off the TV at night because you don't need all that negative news. Ladies and gentlemen, 15 minutes is all you are auto-suggestible. My wife is a hypnotherapist, is one of her many degrees. You do not want to implode negativity full-time base. You want to implode stuff like Preston and I do on YouTube. And we want to make you happy, joyous, successful, and really rich in all aspects of your life.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've got our buddy Ken Walls listening here. Ken Walls, he's amazing, and he says Mark Victor Hansen is a great friend and mentor to me. I highly recommend you get his program. It will change your life. So we love Ken. Ken's an inspiration, and he's gone through some rocky things real recently, and I'm glad you're feeling good, Ken. We love you, brother. But another question too I've got here is, and this is something that we've talked about a lot, and I love to shine a little light on it too for people. But what portion of the book is actually the writing of the book, and what else needs to be done to have a successful book?
What a great question. And by the way, I probably didn't answer your last question about self-publish or publishing house, which I'll answer both ways. So, but first I'll answer the portion of the book is you got to market it. We say 7 times more than you have to spend writing it. So if you spend a month or a year writing it, if you spend a month, you got to spend 7 months marketing it minimal. And if you spend a year writing a great book, your first book's slower than the rest. Then you got to write, 7 years marketing it. And like a great author said to me, he said, the reason you outsell everyone, Mark, is that you never stop marketing. And that's correct. For Chicken Soup came out in 1993. I'm still marketing it. Now, I sold Chicken Soup as an enterprise back in 2008, and the people are doing phenomenal with it. They got 2 major movies coming out, Bill Ruana and Dr. Amy Newmark. I love them. I bless them. I pray for them every day. The point is there's no limit to that. Now, back to self-publishing versus a publishing house. Listen, when Jack and I came through, and after everybody turned us down, we went to the ABA, American Bookselling Association. There are like 60,000 people there. We had backpacks with 3-ring binders, and we went from booth to booth to booth and got turned down more than one little publisher said, I'll read it overnight. Came back the last day of the show. We were there. It was May 17th, May 20th. The May 20th, last person we meet with at 5 o'clock. I read it last night. I cried over my soup shirt. I will publish your book at Health Communication. People think HCI means Hansen Canfield Inc. We didn't know it. Damn. Dude, that guy's a billionaire because of us. Anyhow, he said, I cried all over my silk shirt. I'll take it if you'll promise to buy 20,000 copies at $6 each before I distribute it. Now, that's a vanity press, so that's basically self-publishing, but we couldn't get Time Warner. We couldn't get, now I'm with everybody. I'm with, you name it, I'm with them. I'm with Random House. I'm with Simon & Schuster. And I love all of them, and they've been great to me. So I am not besmirching the publishing industry. What I'm saying, though, is that even after a book gets published, you, the author, have to figure out how to hustle, market, make it a brand to command, and keep a continuity sale going for the rest of your life. Otherwise, your garage is going to be full of books. You just don't want that. Or the thing that breaks your heart the most, when I was coming through, Og Mandino, who used to live here in Arizona where we live, at his house at Fairmont Times, the guy who wrote The Greatest Salesman in the World, he said, they literally rip off the covers and then they burn the books and send the covers back in for what's called a refund. Oh man, it breaks your heart. Because I want all those books to be given away, given to libraries, given to prisons, given to handicapped, given to people on the street, given to people that'll make it better off. I mean, every Christmas, Preston knows our realtor, she takes a couple hundred of my books and goes everywhere on the street and gives them to handicapped people and people that are down in their luck, where Preston and I have fed all those people. And she, last Christmas, she gave away 600 of my books down, here in Phoenix. And a lot of the people wrote her back and said, thank you, because she puts her card in my book. She doesn't even write a book. She just gives away my book. And I'm very thankful, because I want everyone to have a shot. And a lot of these people just need to rebrand themselves, rebuild themselves, wake up their self-esteem, wake up to the fact that they got, the kingdom of heaven is within. That means God's within you, and my books hopefully help you to release that.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, no, I love it. I love it. No, it's so true. And one thing I'd love to touch on too, and then I know we've gone pretty long here, so we'll wrap it up quick. So I'll give you one more question, and then we can wrap it up for today. But you mentioned that you sold Chicken Soup for the Soul as an enterprise. How important is it to have something beyond the book itself? To attach it to your business, attach it to what you're doing, and what are some thoughts around that?
Ladies and gentlemen, I teach it's got to be a triangle. You got to have a business, you got to have marketing, and then you do the book. You got to have a business, marketing, and then the book. Business. I was a professional speaker that wrote, and then I made so much money writing because people said, boy, is that story in a book? And I'm still writing faster than a speeding bullet, to use an old cliche of Superman. The point is, you got to have a business that it is feeding into. And every one of you needs to do that. And the subset of what Preston's saying is, when you do a book, what we do with the book was the trademark of the brand. So make sure you buy a trademark. Don't cheap out and go, I'm going to write the book and I'm not going to spend any money. Plan on spending some money on it. A trademark will cost you like $1,500, but you want to own the trademark, because that's what you're going to sell if you get to build. The last chapter of this is called A Brand to Command. You need to have a brand to command. And there are a lot of them. I'm not the only one, but I was the first one in the book business because I read Steven Spielberg and George Lucas's book one weekend, and they'd made $800 million in AP, but they made $1.5 billion on licensing. And I went into Jack's office on Monday, and I said, Jack, we're going to start a licensing. He said, what do you know about licensing? I said, nothing. But in graduate school, Bucky Fuller taught me that every general systems theory, we had to study a guy named Bertolomé. It doesn't matter to you what the name is, but it's a circle. You're either outside the circle or inside the circle. And the beautiful thing, like Eldon said, if you want to change the world, write a book. But the beautiful thing about the outside the circle is it only takes a year of concentrated reading, 1 hour a day, and you get inside that circle. Well, I decided if I'm going to get in the circle of licensing, I'm going to be number one, and I am number one licensed. I mean, we sold $168 million worth of dog food last year. We get 15%. I don't market it. I don't package it. I don't distribute it. I don't have to smell it. I don't have to eat it. I don't have to worry about returns. It's the best business in the world. But back to it, it's a business, it's marketing, and it's them. And when they came to my house, one of my daughters at the time was becoming a veterinarian. We had 88 animals on 1 acre in Newport Beach, California in the old days where I lived. And I said, look, we got 4 dogs, and I just did the meeting for your competitor. This is Diamond Pet Food who bought it, but licensed us, but and we're going to have a book in every one of their packages, which is another way to sell books. Remember, marketing. And I teach bypass marketing, which Preston and I'll do the next time we get on. And it's more fun now than ever. But we sold a lot of books to people that are chicken soup to pet lovers, sold dog lovers, sold cat lovers, sold fish lovers. Anyhow, the point is that when they came, I said, look, I got 4 dogs. You give me this stuff. It's got to be organic. It's got to smell good. It's got to taste good to the dogs. They got to have it, love it, because I just been to the meeting in Karina. They had the best packaging, the best pictures, the best ads. They had what's called counter sales, where right at the cash register, and it went up 1 month and crashed and burned. And when the chairman asked the guys, what's wrong? Said the dogs don't like it. So I said that my 4 dogs have got to love this, or we can't do it. I got to have you guys be clear. And it is so exciting. As far as I'm concerned, look, I believe, and Preston knows, that we teach everyone's got a unique talent. We're teaching in this book, everyone's got a destiny talent. My destiny talent is several-fold: to write, to speak, and inspire you to get to your destiny. Part of which is, if you're watching this, you have a destiny of a book, or as you've had a lot of people come on and say, books, multiple books in you. We want to help you bring them out and release them to the world. And Preston, when you talk to him on the phone, we'll tell you about our video challenge. We'll talk to you about how to qualify to be part of Published by Us, how we can help you edit what you got, ghost what you got, market what you got, whatever you got, or if you don't got, but you got a great idea, we'll help you if you'll invest in yourself like Jack and I did, to sculpt it and make it a reality, because there's no free lunch in the book business. Anyone, you say, well, I've got the best idea ever, so this publishing house is going to give me money. By the way, the biggest publishing houses in the world are giving nobody almost any money. You can't show me any big money lately. It just hasn't happened post-COVID, because they're all going like this. I'm hanging on my back fingernails. Please help me stay alive. Right? And I want them to stay alive. I love bookstores. I love independents. I love publishers. I love my colleagues and friends, and there are many. And I'm not being critical of them. I'm just saying you got to get with somebody that can teach you how to market. That's what Preston and I can do.
Yep. So what we've learned today is everyone should write a book. We got some comments here. Ellen put, he said that, build a business, get your marketing, and write a book. But yeah, everyone needs to write a book. Everyone needs to do it. And on top of that, having a business behind your book can be a huge foundation for your company. It can be a huge foundation for your success, and it can be a huge foundation for your business and everything you're trying to do. So, we have, Schwa says such great insights, so many nice comments, from the people watching. Thank you, everyone here that's been able to watch and been able to participate. We want to bring you more information. We want to help you, to support you to get to the next level. That's what I'm here doing today. That's what Mark is here doing today. We're doing this together, this event for free, to help to better your life and to make a difference in what you're doing. If you're out there and you want to write a book and you need help, check out, if you want to learn from the best, if you want to learn from the #1 person in the world, check out the HansenInstitute.com. Hansen Institute, like Mark Victor Hansen, at the HansenInstitute.com. And you can actually get trained by Mark. You can actually go through his program, and you can actually get live coaching from Mark. And it's there's a special offer right now. It's only $997 to get live training from Mark for 6 months and to go through this entire course and everything. And so if you're out there, if you've got a book idea and you don't want to waste a few years doing it the wrong way, then check out Mark's course, check out what he teaches, because I promise you, no one knows this better. And he'll save you so much time and so much energy and so much, everything that you put into this hard work of writing a book. But if I can leave everyone with one idea and one thought, everyone should write a book. Your words are so important. Your story is so important. And your story needs to be shared to the world. And we do this by writing a book because, like Mark said, it outlives us. It outreaches us. It goes beyond what we can do in our own life. And it helps us to share goodness, kindness, positivity, uplifting thoughts, inspiration, and so many things to help to uplift humanity, make the world work for 100% of humanity, and to really make a lasting difference. So thank you, everyone, for watching today. Thank you for joining us. We wish you luck. We wish you the best authors, dreams and journeys and writing and everything that you have in store in your future. And take care, and follow Mark on LinkedIn, and follow Mark on Facebook and YouTube, and follow me if you like the messages that I'm bringing to you. We're trying to make a difference in the world, and everyone have an incredible week. Thanks.
Bye, everybody. Thank you for listening and watching.